Gary says there are 4 characteristics of an authentically empowered person. The first is humility.
Humbleness. Humbleness is realizing that everybody's life is as difficult as yours.
Oh, that's good, Gary. That's really good.
No one goes through this earth school easily or smoothly. So be compassionate with yourself and be compassionate with others. That's humbleness. That's realizing that everyone is a great soul like you, and everyone is struggling like you.
An authentically empowered person is one who forgives.
When you forgive, you put down a heavy weight that you've been carrying. When you forgive, you lighten yourself up. The person that you forgive may not even know that you've forgiven him or her. You don't forgive for someone else. You forgive for yourself, because when you don't forgive, it's like wearing sunglasses that make the world look dark and gruesome. And you insist upon seeing the world through those glasses, and you insist that everybody else see the world that way too. And when you forgive, you take off the glasses.
An authentically empowered person has clarity.
Clarity is realizing that you are in the earth school and your experience is tailor-suited for you. If you are black, if you are yellow, if you are white, red, brown, male, female, your experience is suited for you, your parents, your siblings, everything. You are not a victim. There is no such thing as a victim. This is clarity. Clarity is seeing that we are immortal souls, or put whatever word you want on that. More than our bodies, more than our minds, that we are waking up to that. And we are waking up to it in a world that is filled with brutality, in which life is a cheap commodity. Now, what are you going to do about it? There's one place where you can do a tremendous amount about it, and that is in yourself.
An authentically empowered person lives in love.
Love is the 4th characteristic. Love is not an emotional state, and it's not sentimentalism. When you realize that every starving mother with starving children is your mother, and those children are your children, that is love. When you realize that every person who cries hurts, that's love.
I love that little clip from the Oprah Winfrey Show. That was, it dates back quite a way, but very relevant still. And, our podcast is what? Empowered Podcast. And so I thought, let's do a subject matter on what it means to be an authentic, empowered person. And it's something that's always evolving, right?
Like every day.
Yeah, we always have to learn. We have step back. Sometimes we take one step forward and we fall 2 steps back. It happens.
And part of what we're going to discuss is that actually that's the power to keep developing yourself, keep dealing with the imperfections of your perfection, the humanity in you.
Yeah. It's always a continuous growth. It's like going to school, life school. So basically, let's start off by defining empowerment and what it means to be empowered.
So what it says there is that to be empowered means having the authority, ability, and confidence to take control of one's life and make meaningful decisions. So I would say, like, to be empowered is to have the power to realize a life that you want.
Right.
And like you make things happen.
Make things happen for yourself.
That you are the one who are accountable, responsible for your life. That you are the leader. Also, like, empowering gives the sense of give power, give strength, give energy to the way of being to produce results. Right. What do you say?
And I also believe that one of the characteristics of an empowered person is if they don't have the answers to certain resolutions in their life, they research it, they find a way, right? They don't let obstacles stop them from achieving ultimately their goals or their higher self. They find a way. Also, empowerment is not just about individual strength, but it's also about creating environments and systems that support and enable people to reach their full potential, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's in the workplace,
Yeah.
sometimes that's in personal relationships, sometimes that's in your own household.
Yeah.
So empowered people empower people.
Yes.
And I think that that can be also accomplished by the way that your life functions and your environment. It's all part of it. It all plays into it, right? How can a person have be an empowered influencer when their car is full of clutter, right? It's that's a reflection of sometimes what's happening internally too, or their house is full of clutter. It kind of goes hand in hand. It really, really does.
Well, you're talking about creating a clear space for you to exercise power.
Exactly. To have a place of serenity when you know the importance of winding down, right, and achieving internal peace. An authentically empowered person embodies several key characteristics. So let's go over these. So inner authority, and that is they have a strong sense of self and feel secure in who they are, regardless of external opinions or circumstances. That one's hard to achieve. That takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And usually it happens as you mature in life. Do you agree?
Yeah. And so inner authority is this strong sense of self. I think that there's a lot to do with spirituality as well.
Yes.
Maturity, emotional maturity.
For sure.
Some kind of connection with the highest self as you part of the highest self. That sense of self and secure in who I am, regardless of outside, is when I stop waiting for other people's opinion. I stop validation. And I really get myself empowered from inside out. Yeah. The inner authority. Right?
And also a good example of somebody who has that inner empowerment, that inner self authority, is somebody that, let's just say for instance, you're married and you know that your in-laws don't really care for you, or they've expressed to your husband like they don't really care for you. And now it's we're having a holiday and it's going to be at their home. Most people who don't have inner authority will make an excuse or reason to not attend because they don't want to be put in an awkward position or have any kind of pushback or something. But a person who says, I know these people don't really care for me, or we have, indifferences. However, I'm still going to go. I'm not going to give them the power to where my holidays are now spent at home alone. I'm still going to go and make the best of it and be the best version of myself. That's a person who's achieved ultimate empowerment within. Yeah. They are comfortable in their own skin and they're not authenticated or validated by the presence of somebody.
Yeah, they would not let the circumstances. I would say that part of what I would have added on everything you said, I align. But I will add on there's a perspective in what I perceive my in-laws. There are things that they do that occur to me as ouch. It wasn't really the ouch, right? And I can actually give compassion because my inner sense of self is powerful, and that I can give the listening and compassion that whatever they are doing is what they are doing, and it doesn't have to be mine.
Right.
And that allows me to be powerful in that situation and not let the circumstances impact it.
And that's kind of echoes what the guest on the Oprah Winfrey Show said too, as well as like self-love and self-acceptance, of other individuals as well. Also self-acceptance, they embrace their true self, including the flaws, including their imperfections, which provides a foundation for inner strength and growth. I think we touched on this in another episode, and you said it, and I keep saying, like you said, learn to embrace yourself when I was talking about this adjustment in my weight, menopausal weight. And some people mistake embracing yourself as accepting yourself, something that you don't like. But then you emphasize, or you added to that, do something about it then. right? Embracing yourself also means identifying something you're not happy about and then doing
Yeah.
something about it.
Stop resisting, allow it to be, and then take an action to modify it.
Yeah. I
You
like
can't
that.
really act when you resist.
Yeah.
That's what I did it. I say this all the time, so
Yeah.
I probably say that. Whatever you resist, persist.
That's right. That's
And
a good
whatever
one.
you accept, it disappear.
Yeah.
So in the moment, but it's not as just accepted like, oh, I accept like, oh, I'm resigned. No, it's like I accept like this is the way it is.
Yeah.
Like then what actions
What
can I take?
do about it?
It's like being powerful with what's so. What's so is that this is the body I got.
Right.
And then what can I do today? What can I do? What I can create tomorrow?
Right.
Right? So I think it's accepting as a way of allowing it to be.
Right. That's great. Also, living with love, also echoed in the interview with Oprah Winfrey. Living with love. They prioritize treating themselves and others with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So in everything that we say and do, it should be embodied with love, you know, or with the intention of doing good and not destructive in any way. So I think truly empowered people, they get to a point in their life where if this is going to be harmful, what I'm about to say or do, then I don't need to do it. I don't need to say it. I can articulate my point or something that's important, but do it with kindness and do it with love. Compassion.
Yeah.
Being of service. This is a good one. People, truly empowered people, being of service. I can say that about you.
Yeah.
You chose a profession where you are servicing other individuals, trying to make them better, feel better, physically
And
and
I
mentally.
get moved because it's not easy to run a business, right? And they have a lot of people depend on you, and expanding, going for a lot of things that is new and not have experience, and a lot of times bringing myself back into the room, bringing myself back with the client, being of service reminds me why I'm doing all that I'm doing.
And I think that's why it's important to not lose the touch as to what drove you to that place to begin with. Because I know when you run a business and that business stemmed from a place of passion, it's not just a business. It's your life.
It's the why.
It's part of you. Yeah. And so when things get hectic or you can't help but take these things personally. I know that's how I feel about my business because I poured my heart and soul into this. And I didn't just do it for myself. I didn't do it because I wanted to be rich. I did it because I wanted to help other people and I wanted to create jobs for other people. So, that's part of it is, again, being of service. They recognize their connection to others and aim to benefit those around them through their actions.
I think there's a sense of empowerment when you're leading a life of service, because then whatever, and they say this, but until you experience, right, it just become like, they talk about it. But like when you live, when I have like a really hard something happen and I go into the room and I have someone there getting benefit from me because my experience, what I know how to create that, facilitate that healing, it's just like life altering. Is being of service makes the difference in having an empowered life.
And I believe you provide a blessing, you bestowed a blessing upon somebody and in return you're blessed back. And it could be as simple as, they don't even have to say thank you to you. It's simply like you just knowing that you helped them, be it pain or just to relax or to unwind.
They smile. Yeah, they
It's
smile.
worth a lot. Expanded vision of success. They define success on their own terms, focusing on purposeful living and personal growth rather than external metrics. We need to break that one down a little bit.
I need to learn that a little bit more because my external metrics really impact my power.
So basically, when you go into something, let's take our businesses for instance. how are we defining our success? Is our success as we have to be at, 6 figures a month? Is that because that's basically living in California? You pretty much have to make a minimum of, 100K to 200K a year, even just to maintain a,
Comfortable life.
mid-level, not even too comfortable really nowadays. But is that how you continue, or how you weigh the success of your accomplishment? Or do you say, listen, this has always been a dream of mine and a passion of mine, and I didn't know how to get here 20 years ago, but I'm here today because I put things in motion, and I'm at a place of inner peace. And I think that for me right now, from where I came from, what I had, and then marriage, living a very healthy, wealthy life, great, 20 years of marriage and a beautiful family, and I know I shared this with you guys before, I had to start all over again. When I lay in my bed at night and I have a place of where I feel like, guys, I'm in a rental apartment. I mean, it's still $4,000 a month, but it's not, I don't own my own home. But you know what? I'm not measuring my success on that. I'm measuring my successes. I got here, and I got here on my own. And I have a bed at night where I feel a sense of security in my home, a sense of peace. I thank God every night. Thank you for helping me get here. I'm not done yet. I'm still growing, but at least I have I get emotional. So that is,
you know what? I have been very emotional about this episode too. It's a very good reminder for how far we have been, when we have come along.
yeah.
And you're right, like the success, like what is success?
Yeah.
I heard someone saying that success is the ability that you have to have freedom with your own time and to do whatever you want with your time.
Yeah.
And I would say that success for me is to experience making a difference.
Yeah, that's really good. It is
The experience of making a difference. And when I have people coming to me,
true.
especially in my business.
Well, you're making a difference but you're also able to make a difference in your children's lives, right?
Yes.
And that's all I want.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all I care about.
Yeah.
I don't, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
As you're questioning, I'm thinking about it.
I know.
And then there's like the external metrics. So focusing on purposeful living and personal growth rather than external metrics. So if I look back to
External metrics, meaning the measurement by which other people apply as a standard.
It could be also external metrics like my salary, right?
Yeah.
And if I look into how my experience of my business is today compared to what was 2 years ago, the peace of mind, the environment, the therapist experience of wanting to work with me. I remember I started this therapy, I talk about this Brazilian therapy that I started 2 years ago. When I started was October 22. I remember she saying to me, she's like, you go in a meeting that you have to be careful what you talk. Instead of you going in a meeting and people like, tell me what you know. I said, well, it would be great to have that situation.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it was pulling teeth every time I had to have a meeting. And all I cared was about everyone winning, everyone performing, making a difference. The business, it's about creating treatments for people with massages. If I have goals. If I don't reach those goals, I'm not reaching those people.
Right.
So those numbers are people.
Yeah.
Right? But then the experience of having to go and pull teeth to that meeting, and my therapist said, like, let's transform that. Let's have an environment where people want to be around you. People want to have you to talk to them. You have so much to contribute. And it's so interesting. 2 months ago, I had a meeting that people didn't leave the meeting.
Oh, that's great.
And I was like, I got there.
Yeah.
And for me, that's success.
That's great.
And I was empowered because I was you know, I had that personal growth.
Yeah.
I had to do a lot of personal development to be able to be that kind of a leader
Yeah.
that people didn't want to leave,
Yeah.
right? It was on me.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing too? The personal growth and
Oh, I'm sorry.
purposeful living. Yeah, like my dream 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I created this vision that I'm a great therapist. I know that, and I'm grateful for all the training experience I have.
Mm-hmm.
But being by myself, I can, and that's probably like for you too. And I want to hear yours too.
Mm-hmm.
By myself, I can only do, like with my age today, maybe 20 people a week.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my maximum. If I do 20 people a week, I'm impacting 20 people a week. Now I have a business with, like, let's say I don't have 10 therapists, but let's say I would have 10 therapists.
Okay.
For the math to be easy. Now and 10 therapists doing 20 massages a week. I now have been able to impact 200 people.
Mm-hmm.
If I have 10 stores impacting 200 people, I now impact 2,000 people in a week. That's really my purpose for creating this business. To have this expansion and having this franchise grow in a way that per week we impact 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so is it the volume?
Your mic was never on.
Really? And now you can, but I think that my voice is captured by your.
I just realized that because I'm hearing you, but yeah, it was never on. Because did you ever turn your mic on?
No, I didn't. Now you know how many episodes we recorded today.
Oh my gosh, and now it's really loud in my ears. Okay. So.
Anyway, so that's really cool because my success is I'm empowered by the purpose of living and by the personal growth rather than out the external metrics.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I think that, and I believe that. I mean, that's not just something she's saying. I believe that is one of your motivating, if not the most important motivating factors to get your business growing and franchising. It's not about money, not with this one. It's more about being of service and expanding your ability, using your God-given talent and utilizing it to
and have other women empowered, really, like not just women, but in particular in my business.
Yeah.
So
now look at this one. This one I really like. So another trait of a really truly authentic empowered person: alignment of personality and soul. They strive to integrate their authentic self with their outward expression and actions. And that is, I think, there are a lot of people that they would consider themselves, and we even have podcasts where it's like empowered women, and I've like watched some of these episodes, and empowered, they're referencing empowered in the job, like it's like a different type of empowered, but the way that they're carry themselves, because then I go and see them, like I see them on their social media, so I can see their profile, and I'll pick up some of their other like videos and stuff. It's completely doesn't align with the message that they're sending, you know. So I feel like it's not authentic, because typically, like, you'll see it kind of carry over into their personal life. That's not to say that we all have a different, you know, like a side of us, you know, but yeah, it's not authentic because it's not aligning to their soul.
How do you accomplish that in your life? Do you see, like, where do you, because it really was cool to see that me in my business for the previous one, like, share a little bit about yours.
Well, for me, I think because God, Christ, is at the center of my life and everything I do. And if anybody or anything ever pushes him out, then I leave that behind. And I think through that, it's in my business, it's part of my business. Even as a spiritual counselor, it's part of my business. And if you don't accept that part of my business, then you're not meant to be there, and I'm not meant to be in your life. So it comes naturally with what I do. And I really believe, and and maybe if any of my clients or patients are watching this episode, they can comment and let me know if what I'm saying is they find to be true. I am very transparent when it comes to servicing my clients. I do what I do, and what I know and what I don't know, I'm very upfront with them about it. But what comes for me in my place of business or in my relationship is always God is at center. And so I think it just happens naturally. And I think God puts me on paths where I'm going to be successful because of my relationship with him. And I think he closes doors, or he never opens doors where it's going to take me away from him. And that's because I surrendered my will to him. So I think that's where I'm, I think having him at the center of everything I do, kind of when I'm about to explode or have a moment where, he pulls me back. I don't know what else to say or how else to answer that, but
no, that's great.
I think that's what it stems from. Standing up for oneself. They advocate for their needs and values, speaking their truth confidently.
Yeah.
I'm pointing this one, I'm giving that one to you. Standing up for oneself.
Yeah.
Do you often feel
positioning myself, right?
Position yourself, and
I think there's layers. Like if you look me 20 years ago, 60 years ago, particularly like before I start doing the landmark self-development courses, you would see very weak, very many layers that has been developed. And that's like a constant work that I just shared with you before we're creating this conversation about positioning myself, how has been difficult positioning myself.
Yeah.
And the ability, so I have that as a strong, I produce results being flexible, right? There's a lot of flexibility helps with a lot of things.
Sure does.
But then a lot of times flexibility makes me feel like a leaf in the wind.
Yeah.
Lift in the wind. And then there's certain situations that positioning myself and saying, no, I don't want this. No, this is doesn't work for the whole for the whole project, for the situation, or it doesn't work in my family, it doesn't work in my relationship, romantic, and I think the part of this is is speaking my truth confidentially doesn't mean that your truth is invalid or that other people's need is invalid.
Right.
Is to be able to say no for what doesn't work for me and be okay with that.
Right.
I have a tendency, I take care of people.
Yeah.
I want to have everybody happy. I want to make sure everyone is happy.
Yeah.
And when I have to say no and people get unhappy or they are upset, it's really difficult for me. That's the maturity that comes with emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, is to be okay with people being upset at me.
Yeah, that's extremely relevant to being truly empowered. Is also understand that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
And it's okay that they're upset. I think that also it's okay. That goes back into the number one. It's okay that their circumstances or their behavior tells me that they're not liking me.
Right.
They don't. It's okay.
Yeah. This is another important one. Self-reflection and growth. They engage in ongoing self-examination and personal development. And that never stops, right? We can contest to that. So doesn't necessarily mean taking responsibility for something that's not, it's just not on you, especially if you're having indifferences in a relationship, but always internalize and self-examine, you know, and say, okay, is there any responsibility on my end? Am I at fault for something? Is there, and that's amazing to do that. You may end up coming out of that saying, actually, no, this isn't one of those situations, this is this is out of my control, essentially.
Mhm.
And that's okay. But the fact that you are taking responsibility and saying, where did I contribute to this?
Mhm.
Is it my response? Is it simply the way I'm responding to this? So that is something, a quality and a trait that you're going to see.
Let me share something I do.
Okay.
What is this an opportunity for? I always ask myself, what is this an opportunity for? Is this an opportunity for me to self-growth? Is this an opportunity for me to look into a limiting belief I have? Is this an opportunity for me to see something that I haven't seen it before? What is this an opportunity for? And then the other part of that is the self-development is to look into where I have power is when I respond to life. And I have said this many times before other episodes. I have power when I relate it to I have a choice or I have the power to respond to something. Instead of oh, that happened to me. That person did this to me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no power in being the victim of other people's actions.
Right. And also establishing boundaries. And if you set boundaries for yourself and then those boundaries are not respected by somebody else, you have the right to say, listen, this is not okay with me.
This is not working.
This isn't working. This isn't okay. Trusting oneself. They have faith in their own judgment and abilities. Even in the most empowered person, there's times when you have a sense of judgment lapse or you second guess yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that could stem from an insecurity that's just remanifested,
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, focusing on always continuing to try and achieve your best and highest self. Freedom from limiting beliefs. They work to overcome self-imposed restrictions and negative self-talk.
Well, I just mentioned this from my previous comment, right? A limiting belief is usually unconscious. It's like a belief you have that is limiting you, but it's usually you don't go around oh, I have a limiting belief that I'm gonna do this because I want to do that limited. No, it's hidden from your view, right? And that's the part where you keep doing work on looking at you from different perspective, and that's the transformative education, transformative psychotherapy or psychology or whatever, transformative way of learning, where it kind of review itself to you. I think doing that kind of work makes such a profound difference in life. Keep looking to see the way we take actions is correlated to the way life occurs to us, right? And if I have a limiting belief that I'm limited about something, or I have a perception that I cannot do something, that it was created when I was a child, was created when I was a teenager, whatever it was created in the past, but that is that, the brain is preventing me from going in a different direction.
Right.
So unless I really investigate what was that limiting belief, go and do the work to altering, to bring consciousness to it, and then transform the way I see myself, and then take actions from that authentic self, that's when I have a shot in making a difference.
Yeah, amen to that. An authentically empowered person cultivates these qualities through self-awareness, personal growth practices, and a commitment to living in alignment with their true self.
I just said that.
You did. And so to summarize, basically what we're talking about is, what does it mean to be an authentic, empowered person? Essentially, there will be one common denominator in all the people that are striving to achieve their best self, is their acceptance and understanding that it never stops, that we continue to grow, and there's always something to learn. The day that you say, I'm good the way that I am, is the day essentially that you die. I know I said that in our very first podcast, but there's always room to grow. There's always room to achieve improvement,
Evolve.
to evolve.
Because
Yes.
I do believe that we have a soul with the body, and the soul is always evolving.
Yeah. And also, again, I'm going to re-emphasize what we said. Empower people. And so you're not just becoming your higher self or your best self just to keep it all to yourself. It's to share with other people. And sharing doesn't always come in the format of educating. It comes in the format of extending your best self, your kindness, right? Your love. What else did we talk about? Your compassion, your ability to forgive, extending that to other people.
Empathy.
Anything you want to add before we close this episode?
No, thank you for bringing up the subject. It was very emotional, and like it kind of retouched why we're here.
Yeah, that serves as a good reminder, huh?
Yeah. Oh, what is the quote?
Oh, do you have a quote?
I think I did.
Do you? Oh, you do.
There is no force more powerful than a woman determined to rise.
That's wonderful. And men too. Because
There's no force more powerful than someone determined to rise.
determined to rise.
Yeah. So with that, pick up your crown, put it on, and go make a difference. Be of service. Take on living like a purposeful life. Take on personal development. Go make a difference and create empowerment around you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you guys next time.